having fun on that website, and it's by posting memes, Warhammer 40k painting projects, and by quote tweeting people in a shitty boomer way.
Hey, W in my book, dude.
I used to have a friend that was into Warhammer.
So you guys can keep your cap. The only one thing I have to say is, Lav, are you still on to like debate or discuss about sex work like next week or wherever it be?
There's a lot of insight there.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. See you guys later, alligators. Bye.
Bye, Pixie.
Jesus.
What do you mean, Dan? I know a lot about that.
What do you think I mean? What do you mean, I bet?
You said it. I think you said it as a little jab because you don't think about it.
Well, no, I said that you
was
don't.
a sex worker.
Yeah, I would say because whatever you would
You
know,
that my
you change your
critiques
mind
are
on.
apt, though.
I would say whatever your view is, I could get the opposite view 2 days later when you roll it back.
I've actually never recanted any statement about the way that I feel about sex work. That's a mischaracterization.
Okay.
What have I said? What have I said that I've gone?
I'm not playing into your games, evil woman. All right.
Oh yeah, my games, or you just actually don't have any feedback. You just want to try to make me this lol cow desperately.
Yes, that one.
See, actually, so I think we're fighting for the soul of Lav. What I want to do is I want Lav to go through the gauntlet of the debate sphere and to become a successful debate bro. Dan just wants to fucking milk random goddamn bullshit content for fucking 3 goddamn weeks. So
yeah, he's probably married to a Jewish woman. He hates Jewish women. he's taking it out on me.
So he can't.
Dan, is your wife Jewish?
No. His mother is.
Dan,
what's
your
relationship
Jewish?
with your mother, Dan?
Yeah.
Your wife is Jewish?
Yeah.
Like for real Jewish, or like she's married and now you guys are Jewish?
No. For real Jewish. Why?
Oh my god.
We're talking about why
we're exploring your subconscious motivations right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I just learned so much about
what's
you from Lav,
What's your relationship with your mother, Dan?
What's my what? My who?
Your relationship with your mother.
You know.
We don't. That's why we're asking.
Oh, you know. Yeah. Great.
Do you think men marry their mom?
I modeled my wife off of my mother, of course.
That's very Jewish. Extreme Jewish behavior. Do you think that's normal?
For Jews.
Definitely for Jews. Do you believe? Because I think that there's like a matriarchy in Jewish families. I think that the mom actually is like the one who wears the pants.
No, I wear the pants.
Okay.
Is it true, or do you think that?
No, I wear the pants. Right now I'm wearing shorts, but usually I'm wearing pants.
I think that's doubtful.
I'm usually wearing shorts. Well,
but I actually think that's really powerful. I think it's powerful that a man like provides and brings stability, and a woman like keeps it like holds down the fort with like child rearing and you know, making appointments for everyone, taking care of everyone. Very conservative of me to enjoy matriarchy. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, you're literally talking about traditional gender roles. Yes, that is true. That is exactly what the male-female divide is in like religious households.
I have a very conservative household. And everything is perfect. So if you want to know how a perfect marriage works and, you know, all that, I'm the man to ask.
What do you feel about open relationships, Dan?
I think that it's a bad way to... No, it's a good way to get divorced very quickly.
Holy shit, I agree. Wait, this is big. This is big if true. I think we should bully Steven.
Well, it's not fair because I know so much inside information that it would be hurtful to both of us.
Good.
I can't. Here's a problem: is like I can't fight with Steve. Not past the very cursory fun level, because both of us will just fucking hate each other if we go too hard. That's a problem. And we can both go very hard. That's why it's miserable.
The problem is that Dan's life would get destroyed.
Your life would get destroyed too.
It would be over. It would be
yours would too.
Explosion of just the crater left behind would house the second largest lake on Earth.
No, it's not good for either of us. That's the problem.
But it would be really good content.
I'm actually worried that now, since we focused in on Dan, like he's fucking squirming under the limelight, and he's like, "Wait, I got to come up with the content now. Let's fucking throw some nukes. like let's back off. Get him away from going DEFCON 3 on Destiny.
DEFCON 4. Yeah.
You mean DEFCON, right?
Yeah, DEFCON 3.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly able to survive in this environment. Unlike
what do you think about open relationships makes them less successful?
I don't think most people can handle it. The jealousy creeps in. That would be the end of it. The jealousy and also the desire and the not knowing will just destroy everything. And if it doesn't destroy it, in my opinion, it means you don't care about that person so much in the end that you wouldn't care. Yeah, big.
What do you think that love and ownership are synonymous?
Wow, big lab questions.
Ownership.
Do you own your wife, Dan?
Do you own your wife?
Does your wife own you
piped down by the
simultaneously?
pool boy, Dan? Do you really love your wife if you're not going to let her take some lifeguard dick?
You wanted to say another type of dick, and I was in your mind, and you stopped yourself from saying
what?
That.
Not even. I said it.
Yes,
I always
you did. And now you know. Now
you
you know that I know what you were
No,
thinking.
you had no idea.
I had 100% idea what you're going to say. We both know it.
No idea.
That is not okay.
So
you can't say that on
Big-
YouTube.
big
You can't even think
question.
that.
Big question, Dan. If
What?
if 10 years from now, do you have kids?
Yep, 2 of them.
Okay. So in 10 years from now, let's say that you're like an empty nester at this point, hypothetically. If your wife meets someone at the synagogue and she's like
Where I
really
go all the time.
she's like they're like really connecting chemistry wise, and she comes to you and she's like, I really
I need
want
to fuck this guy.
No, if she's like, I really want to see where this goes. I really want to sleep with him. I still love you. You're still my forever person. I want to grow old with you. What would you do?
I'll tell that bitch to settle the fuck down, lock her in the closet, and let it go for a few weeks. Tell the other dude that she has AIDS and go from there.
Okay. How about this? Your wife in 10 years, it's not that she wants to sleep with somebody else. She all of a sudden, something awakens in her and she realizes she's an aggressive cuck, right? And she really wants you to fuck somebody else in front of her.
Oh my God, me?
Then that's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh my God, you little, I'm gonna.
But the difference
men
is that I wouldn't be having a relationship. That would be a one-time thing. That I fuck some bitch in front of her and she would like it, and then I would never see that person again.
Hold on.
No, she wants you to do it every week, every Friday.
Well,
do you
fine.
think that
Then, as long as
connect
she's in the room with
differently?
me, I guess that's different.
I think you're falling into the fallacy that men don't connect emotionally when they have sex with women.
I don't ever.
That is a joke.
Well, the thing is, I love my wife, and I don't want to be with someone else. And yeah, I'm not naive.
What if she didn't either?
What?
What if she didn't either, but she was like, "Fuck! I'm gonna never stop thinking about fucking this guy, and then I'm gonna resent you for it because you didn't let me."
Jesus Christ!
I don't think that we have that in our relationship. Like, there's women I would.
But what if you did?
Yeah.
Well,
and what if it started to make like a divide in your relationship somehow?
It's hard for me to imagine because I don't have it. You're asking me to imagine something that doesn't exist. Like I'm not.
There's
naive.
no guy out there that could ever tempt Dan's wife away from him.
No, it's not possible. I mean, you got the whole package here. You understand what you're working with? I mean,
Money.
Yeah, I can imagine that you guys are both getting old too, so the libido's on the decline.
Well, you'd be fucking wrong, bitch. All right.
Wow.
No, but I do think that that's interesting because obviously that's different than having like an open relationship where you're like actively looking for partners, right? I think that is always going to be like that relationship is never going to work out. But I think that
Do you know how long I've been married?
How long?
How long do you think?
I want to say 15 years probably.
It'll be 20 years soon.
Oh. Wait, how
right.
old were you when you got married?
19.
Jesus.
Wow.
Wow.
How old was she?
He was 18.
Wow.
Are you sure she wasn't 17, Dan?
Oh my God.
Sure.
Wait.
She was.
If you guys got married at those ages, you must have met her when she was underage.
No, I met her when she was 18.
That's
Really?
so-
She's 18.
Yeah.
She was 18 when you got married. And you met her and she was 18. You married her within 1 year.
I got married within 3 months.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Was this
Toxic.
arranged or some
Groomer.
shit?
How did you
Groomer.
I think that's really beautiful. I wonder in settling into your relationship, I'm sure there's been temptation before. Obviously, you like went through your 20s together, and that's like a very sexually strange time.
I've never had problem. We have to keep in mind when I met my wife, I was pretty poor. I mean, unironically, I was in the Coast Guard. That was the only job I had. Then I left the Coast Guard, and then I worked as a valet. Like literally.
Oh, my dad
parking
did that too.
cars. And so I was super poor when I married her, and she was working as a bartender, and she made a ton of money.
Whoa.
She waited.
Literally, my parents met each other in the same way, bartender and valet. That's strange.
Yeah, and shortly after that, I started making a lot of money. But like, even though I was at that position, I was never this thought where like I would blow up my shit for like 3 minutes of like fucking. Like I know myself. I'm not like 3 to 5 minutes. I'm not gonna, bro. No thanks. I don't want to live a lifetime of regret or like nervousness. It's so like I'm a very as far as Jewish stereotypes, the one thing I do is I worry a lot, and I like the idea that I don't even have to stress or worry about my wife finding out about this. And if I did it, I'd be a nervous wreck. Like my entire life, I'd be thinking, oh, I should just tell her and everything else, and it would fucking consume me. So it's nice to not have that at all. It's better than fucking Gal Gadot,
that
over
makes
the
sense.
fucking couch or something.
Mark Twain.
Because that's an option for Dan.
What is it? Are your parents still together?
No, they got divorced when I was younger.
Oh, interesting. What age were you?
I don't know, 4 or 5 or something.
Oh, wow. Did they co-parent well?
Not really. They fucking hated each other for a little bit. It was pretty fucking crazy, but now they're fine.
Interesting. Because usually, I mean, you won't see people. I mean, usually that's like a generational curse, right? But I wonder, like, what values do you have in a partner, like a collaborator? Like, what's your biggest thing?
Well, my wife is very smart. She just got her PhD or Psych D. She's been in school for a really long time. We both like cats. We both like warm weather. We like having nice food and traveling. That's all very, basic bitch type of shit. But, I think the important thing is that we really like family, and we like having a good life. And I've been really fortunate with the stuff that I've done, that I've been able to do that with very little stress. And I think that I value that above all else, to the point where I've given up on a lot of business opportunities and things like that could possibly fuck my life up on that front by having to do things. So that would be the biggest difference. Is I think a lot of people have this chasing money or chasing fame type of thing pretty heavy. And I realize I'm not going to be Bill Gates, right? I'm not. Or Bill Gates isn't even the richest guy anymore. But whoever, Elon Musk or fucking Bezos or whoever, I'm not going to be richer than those guys. I'm not going to be more powerful than those guys. I'm not going to be the president. So if that's the case, why continue to go get more money and more influence and everything? What was my goal? My goal should be to have enough money to do whatever I want all day. What I want to do right now is like hang out with my kids and like fucking play Rust and shitpost and like talk with Destiny and do other stuff. And I have that fucking on lock. My kids can go to college. Like, why would I want to do anything different? Why would I want to change anything else? So that's kind of the values in this house, is like, don't chase money for money's sake. Don't chase work for work's sake, and do what feels good, but be responsible. And that's
no Bugattis for Dan.
No Bugattis. We drive a scooter. I could easily afford Lamborghinis and Ferraris and shit like that, but I have a fucking RAV4 and a scooter.
Base.
That's incredible. How old are your kids? Older or younger?
I have a 8-year-old and a 12-year-old.
Oh, okay. So you guys waited a little bit to have kids then.
Yeah.
Did you think that was a good idea?
Well, it doesn't matter what you do. Money is the thing that really destroys relationships more than anything else. Not having money. I mean, and I was very lucky. I made a lot of money when I was, 21, 22. That like, I got very lucky. And as a result of that, if you have a lot of money, you can your relationship's a lot easier to not fuck up. Like I'm in my late 30s now, and I think it's not much different than when I was in my late 20s. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think we can all learn something from someone with a 20-year marriage.
No, I don't think so. No.
No, I actually, this is super based to talk about humanizing people. Dan is way more humanized. I thought he was this like nefarious mustache twirling millionaire.
I love the fact that he entrapped some poor fucking girl who didn't know any better. Okay.
Oh my
18
God.
years old.
He also spent. He also
spent fucking master philosopher of life. Okay, be careful.
Okay, well, hold on. But okay, were you enlisted in the Coast Guard or were you an officer in the Coast Guard?
Enlisted. I dropped out of high school.
Yeah, so he ate a bucket of shit for 4 years straight. That endears me, endears him to me.
Not 4 years. We got out a little bit early, but that's another story for another day.
Oh no!
Wait, did your wife?
I got an honorable discharge.
Okay.
Your wife.
Should
your wife went back to school.
2 questions here. What's the first one?
Your wife went back to school.
She kind of. Yeah, she did. So my wife was born in the Soviet Union.
Jesus.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Wow.
At 18, she came to the United States on a
And you just scooped her up. Jesus Christ.
She came on a 4-month work-study arrangement where she was supposed to go to New York, but that got, she couldn't do it. So she chose Bourbon Street because everyone knows New Orleans apparently.
Oh my
So she
gosh.
went there, and then she was going to spend 4 months. So you get a job while you're there. And originally she was working in a hotel, and she hated it, so she quit. And then she started working on Bourbon Street, making a ton of money as a bartender because she continued to be a very attractive lady. And I was a underage, meaning not 21, guy who was trying to hang out at Bourbon Street. So I had a fake ID, and I had to keep trying to sneak into this bar she was at over and over and over again. And the problem was the fake ID that I had wasn't the real fake ID. It was a real ID from my friend who was 6'2" and looks like a fucking retard. So whenever I tried to walk in the door, I had to stand on my fucking tippy toes and make my face kind of look like him. And it was like, this is not the same fucking guy. Like, I just had my friend's ID, and I was like, like this, doing the facial expression he was trying to get in. It was really difficult. And this fucking bitch, my wife, I kept giving her my phone number, and she wouldn't fucking call me. And it took like fucking, I kept going back, and I was like, you know how fucking difficult it is just to get in the fucking door in this place? And she, yeah, anyways, like after like.
So you basically stalked her and forced her to call you back.
Well, after, I would say today, after today, I don't know. Like, I feel like you'd probably get in trouble for doing that for sure. Like, you know.
Yeah.
You keep giving your number, like take a hint. But
Romance
I didn't take a hint
today. Okay.
Yeah, romance is dead. All right, what happened to like dog chasing a cat type of thing? So, but anyways, that was how that situation went. You know.
That's cute.
All right, so did you deserve your honorable discharge from the Coast Guard, or was that something that you negotiated?
No, I had an honorable discharge. It was just, you know.
He didn't ask if you had one.
Yeah, I know. I was being obtuse to avoid the question indirectly.
Oh, a little snaky. A little snaky. Some
no,
Jewish snake behavior.
No, not snaky. Sneaky. Okay, you're the snake. I'm the sneak.
No,
You pursued your wife while you had a girlfriend too, right? So you kept sneaking into that bar.
True.
I did. I had a girlfriend, but the second she said yes, I broke up with her.
How you get him is how you lose him.
But you kept insisting with your
wait, I
number.
remember
So
this.
You were
Hold on, it's
your
coming back to
girlfriend
me.
while
Wait, before I
stalking
forget.
somebody else.
Before I forget, I remember how it all went down. I had continued to drop my fucking number to my wife over and over and over and over again. She wouldn't fucking call me back. But then I was at Red Lobster with my girlfriend, Gracie, who was like she was like a backup cheerleader for the fucking New Orleans Saints or something like that. And she was like super fun. Apparently that's a thing.
Like how she was a backup girlfriend for you. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, she was at the time. Super redneck, really redneck, and not at all like me. Like had the redneck accent and everything. I remember I was at a Red Lobster with her, and and she went to the bathroom, and my phone that I had was a Trio 650, which is a really old phone. And my wife at the time was texting me like, "Hey, you know, this is the bartender from the bar. I want to go and meet up with you." And I was texting. I was super excited, and I was texting with her, and I didn't realize it. My fucking girlfriend was right behind me, and she was like, "Who are you texting with?" And it was the most awkward thing that's probably ever happened to me in my fucking life at that point. I was like, "Oh, no one," but she knew, and that was the end of the relationship right there. That was not good.
Wow.
Oh god, just thinking about it.
You know.
Not good, that whole situation.
So do you think your family would have approved if you married the backup cheerleader from the New Orleans Saints?
No, that she was dumb as fuck. For sure. And she was a slut.
Hey, yes!
Yeah. That's why I didn't care about her. She was just like, you know, it was like a temporary thing for
not
both of us.
based, Dan. Not based.
I'm calling it like I see it, you know? Yeah.
Slut
different
shaming.
times.
Unbelievable.
Not slut shaming, just calling it like it was, you know?
Just slut asking why.
Yeah, and yeah, who was the slut who kept persisting with his phone number?
Well, you know, sometimes when you see the one that's the one for you,
wow, all men
know
are
it right away. I knew it. I saw her. That was my my catch that I could have for the rest of my life, and I wasn't going to let her go. So that was it. Sometimes you notice that you don't let it go.
And you're above that temptation now, Dan, or what?
Well, now I'm content. You know, now it's about pros and cons board, right? Pros, I get 20% better than I had. Cons, I lose half of my revenue. My wife hates me. My kid hates me. That's easy to fucking do. You know what I mean? If Gal Gadot's knocking on my door, like, Dan, I see you've talked about me online. You say a lot of good things. I want to do some moves. I'm like, listen, bitch. I didn't like the Wonder Woman that much, especially 1984. It's not going to work. You got to do that. There's nothing left to gain. You know what I mean? My life is already so fucking good.
She was in the IDF. That's so sexy.
I know, but like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? It's already so good. Am I gonna blow all this shit up for like what? 20% better XYZ? Nah, not worth
You know,
it.
that's what they say is that it's 80-20. Your wife is usually 80% of what you want, and then you cheat on her for the 20% of what she doesn't have. I think that's
Where did you hear that? That's concerning.
I think I literally just saw an article like about that where it's people obsess over the thing that they don't have, and it's just kind of like this like mental fixation that cheaters often have.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like an emptiness. It's like and it's usually for women. And you know who talks about this is Rachel. Rachel Wilson? She talks about this a lot. I don't agree with everything that she says, but she does say like that women often leave their relationships in like 10 years after marriage because they don't feel desired. Which is so fickle, right? Like feeling desired is so fickle. It's so useless, especially when you've built a life with someone. But I think we live in like a narcissistic age where we feel like that's like so much bigger than it is. So that ends up being the 20% of why like a woman will leave her husband who provides for her and her children just because she doesn't feel sexy, and that's how powerful that feeling is, which is so interesting.
Well, that's a very traditional sort of like that's not a problem with modernity, right? That's like a standard like gender sort of thing that's been going on for a long time, right?
No, I don't think so at all. I think if you look at like classical marriage, like if you look at the vows and all that kind of stuff, it's a contract until death do us part, through thick and thin, through all this.
Yeah, because in classical marriage, they didn't have to fucking love each other. They just had a business arrangement.
No, but
the idea
you just shat on the business arrangement. But when there's like a 30% chance that your partner's going to die in the next 20 years, partially due to childbirth, that contract's important. Like, it's crazy.
I'm a believer in romantic love, not cringe business arrangements for our relationships. Okay, thank you.
But I think the idea that women specifically want to be desired, that's it's a very traditional sort of way of thinking as well, right?
Well, traditional for what? Are you talking about like Victorian era England? Because before that, it was just a fucking business contract for partnership for children and material well-being.
That's what it is now. Marriage means nothing. Marriage means nothing. You can be with someone for the rest of your life. Marriage is a contract so you get tax benefits and so that you can be you can be someone's power of attorney. It's only a business contract if you're not religious. There's no reason to get married unless you're religious, except it's just like a social institution, right? You can be with someone
But don't
forever.
you agree that the religious component of it also has that contractual obligation, but not because the contract, like y'all are taking the word contract as if it's like something void that should be negative. I'm saying contract almost like a positive, where like if the Black Death is rampaging your European village, whether or not you take care of your wife while they're dying is an important question.
Totally. That's why I think that marriage is important, is because you need to be your person's power of attorney. When I had my heart condition, yesterday, they had to like basically ask Connor, my fiance, like, is this okay? And we had to like lie.
Who's going to feed the cats? Wow.
No, well, they had to put adenosine in my heart, which chemically stops it, and you could just not wake up. So if they're like pumping me full of fentanyl, so I can't make the decision for myself. They have to like go to First and Family. And imagine, especially gay couples, this is why gay couples fought so hard, is because during the AIDS crisis, they'd have like their partner they were with for 30 years and they couldn't make decisions for them, but like their parent who like fucking hated them could. Like it doesn't, that's why marriage is so important.
You said this was yesterday?
What?
Also,
when was the adenosine?
I'm pretty sure you can assign
like a year ago. Okay,
you can assign medical proxy to whoever you want. I don't even know how true these stories are. I hear shit like this, and I'm like, did medical proxies exist in the 80s and the 70s?
Medical proxies could have been things that could have been assigned. Same thing with like power of attorney. Theoretically, anybody can assign power of attorney to an older person. But the thing was for the longest of times. People would claim things like, why do gay people need to get married? You can have civil unions. But the thing is there's like some 2,000 to 3,000 different benefits that kind of come along with marriage that don't come along with civil unions. And one of those things was the automatic power of attorney, the automatic ability to see loved ones in the hospitals. These are things that like, yeah, you can do it, but a lot of people didn't. If you're married, you don't know half the shit, but it comes automatically with marriage, and it didn't for gay people.
Yeah, there was no
internet. You think you're really fucking
80s.
clever, making me look stupid there, Steven?
Yes.
Coming up with
I was actually surprised that Lav knew anything about this. So, but yeah,
okay,
that's true. That was the big reason why gay people were really upset about civil unions, because if their partner was dying in the fucking hospital, they weren't allowed to even fucking see them because they didn't have those same rights afforded to them that married people did.
Yeah, well, I knew that already.
When I was in the hospital, they were weird about Connor because we weren't technically married yet. It was like it's very weird and fucked up. But I also think that it's a great thing to have a contract, especially when you're like a stay-at-home mom.
You sure you want to be married to a guy named Connor?
Yeah, who would want to do that?
No, seriously. You think that's right for you?
It's funny because we've talked about this before. Because I like also hate his last name, and
I bet it's some fucking non-Jewish name too.
Y'all need to fucking tread carefully, Jesus.
No, his last name is so not Jewish. My last name before I was adopted was Swartz, and I love it. But his is like so Irish, and I just like I can't.
That'd be the
Irish
funniest shit.
Lav O'Malley.
You end up,
Rise
it's gonna be
up.
like, Lav McClaskey.
Dude, it's worse. It's if you can think of the most Irish last name, it's probably that.
Lav
one.
O'Leary.
McDonald.
O'Donnell. Yeah, one of those.
She did the like she did.
Wait,
the,
is his name
breath.
is
One
his
of them
name
is
Connor?
correct.
Connor O'Connor.
Connor McDonald.
it's
There it
Connor
is.
O'Connor.
Okay. Well, anyways,
Nice.
that's
No,
sad.
but
I mean,
what
I'm gonna say on that
it's
alone, this
wrong.
marriage isn't gonna work. Just so you know, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, okay.
Wait, why is the Jewish man who's married to a Jewish woman saying that a out of ethnos relationship isn't going to work?
Well, I didn't know my wife was Jewish when I fell in love with
yikes.
her, which was on the
Oh,
first
he knew.
time I
He
saw
gets.
her.
You can always tell.
Yeah, you could.
You can't.
Wait, did you just make a personal attack at me after I've been so kind to you? You said that my marriage wasn't going to work out?
Well, you're
I didn't say
dating a guy named Connor.
True.
Well, we can change his name. We can work on that.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, just on the Connor part alone, none of his unchangeable characteristics. Just that one. Not a good look. There's not a lot of Connors.
I don't call him Connor. I call him Daddy.
Jesus.
I don't believe you.
No, I could never. That would make me sick. But anyway,
Yeah.
going back on the marriage thing, I think it's really important, especially when you're like a stay-at-home mom, who hasn't like built up an income for an amount of time to like have something in place like alimony. Like I think that's really important. That's really safe for women. So I think that
We
marriage.
shouldn't say
also
safe for women. We should say safe for non-working partners. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Sure. I think that most.
You're such a fucking cuck. Don't pull that shit when I'm in the call, Steven.
That's
Not
what alimony
okay.
is for. It's for partners that forego a career to help maintain stability in the household to allow the other partner to pursue.
Yeah. But 99% of the time, we know.
99? 99?
98 and a half. Yeah.
98 and a half? Really?
Probably 98-ish. 98-ish. What do you think? How far
I'm
off
gonna
do you
guess.
think I
I'm
am?
gonna guess 85.
No shot. You're
Okay, let's
delusional. Come on.
Percentage of men versus women awarded alimony. Let's see.
No way.
You know that it's
92.
really interesting in the Black community.
Fuck, it's 97%.
Men are becoming the like stay-at-home partners.
What are you
like,
talking
far
about?
more
That
often.
sounds like not true.
No, it is true. Women are becoming the breadwinners, which is really interesting. Like in the last 5 years, they're more educated. They have better jobs. You should watch. You should go over Mahogany Pink videos on YouTube.
That sounds like something I would never watch.
No,
like
really
Connor dating
especially while you're going over like red pill stuff. It's really interesting to have like the other perspective on hypergamy and feminism and like Black feminism. I think is really interesting because you've been so critical of white feminism that maybe you should put your money where your mouth
Black
is.
feminists?
Lav, do you think that
That would be base? I don't have very many intersectional ways to shit on Black women, except for them being women. So.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ!
Wait, god damn it,
Lav, do you think poor people should be able to sell their organs?
Oh god, this again.
Wait, let me take it a step back. Should poor people be able to buy soda?
Well, no. Don't we see in well, I don't think that anyone should be able to buy
not good. Not good, Lav.
Based.
So they're second-class citizen.
Like,
Got it.
Not even poor people, but I really like what they're doing in Mexico, where like under 18 you can't get something with like an amount, like a certain percentage of trans fat because of the obesity problem.
Oh, she's transphobic too.
Yeah.
Oh my god, trans fat.
Okay.
Trans fat phobic.
But isn't that based off pseudoscience? Isn't trans fat not any worse than just regular fat?
Yeah, I think it might be sodium content or like something or sugar content. I don't know everything about it. I just know that they've made it illegal for a lot of candies and things to be sold without an ID showing that you're over 18, which I think is big.
Have you ever had a pastrami? Let me give you a good Jewish sandwich.
Oh, I love pastrami sandwiches with the coleslaw, pastrami.
No, hold on. Let me take you a step back. Stop. I'm gonna give you a new sandwich. Okay.
Reuben?
Normally, I wouldn't do this. Normally, this is a Saltman secret, Saltman family secret. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw it out to you.
Okay.
Start with a croissant. I know it's wild to start it with a croissant,
Okay,
but that's where we're starting.
Very New Orleans.
Pastrami. Hot,
Okay.
not cold pastrami. I know your mind is fucking
That's
blown already.
sacrilegious and disgusting.
Hot pastrami on a croissant, Swiss cheese, thin sliced red onions, and a little bit of mayo.
What the fuck is your problem? That sounds abhorrent.
You just don't know until you know. That's it. It's so good.
That sounds really sweet.
No, it's not. It's perfect. You won't even remember to try it. That's my whole problem with you right there. I just gave you a fucking
Well, I can't have
sandwich.
A croissant. I have celiac disease because I'm Jewish.
Of course
that sounds fucking made up.
No, it's because you're Californian.
Yeah, no, I can't have gluten. Oh, I'm gluten free.
True.
No,
I'm
not.
That shit
it's
doesn't
not
exist,
gluten free.
right?
It's not just gluten free. I can't have like a barley.
Oh yeah, or what? You gonna die? You gonna die when you're a baby and you got fed this shit constantly?
My tummy gets sore. That's what
you know. Say. Wait, first of all, celiac disease can present when you're an adult, so it's an autoimmune disease.
So as soon as you move to California, it shows up.
No, that's not what. First of all, no, celiac is an autoimmune disease. Stop.
It's very common in Portland.
You're being ableist. Being ableist. No, there's a difference between
autoimmune disease. You're so edgy. You're so suicidal. Even your body's trying to kill itself. We get it, Lav. Okay?
I read about those on Dr. House. You know, it's not good.
Yeah, true.
Watch those on Dr. House.
No, but it's gnarly. It's like actually gnarly. Like it is not.
Is that a real serious one? A lot of people.
No, I actually don't have it that serious. I actually don't have it that serious.
You got a light piece.
Celiac is insane. One time she was eating bread that she thought was.
She had to take a shit.
She thought it was rye bread. She had to poop twice that day. It was horrible.
Oh my god, I can't imagine. You poor thing.
No, I had something. I just recently went to New Orleans and I had fries. Or I was picking at fries and they had gravy on them. And I'd forgotten that there was flour in gravy because I'm retarded. And for the next 4 days, I was doubled over with like basically what felt like appendicitis.
Do you know what that means when she said she forgot? You know what that means? She was chowing down on some fucking huge thing of gravy fries, okay, eating all this poutine, and then her friend was next to her like, "Didn't you say you have celiac disease?" And she's like, "Yeah, what about it?" And she's like, "I think that gravy is really high in gluten." And she's like, "Oh, my stomach!" And then she ran to that for 4 days.
No. I don't feel it. I don't feel it until 2 days after, and then my resting heart rate goes to 120. My hair falls out. It's super cool. It's like a really great, fun time.
That does sound cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if your heart rate is 120, that's like free exercise right there, doing nothing, just chilling.
I think that's how that works exactly. Actually, that's why I try to be stressed out and on caffeine all the time. My cardio is insane. You know.
You're doing nothing.
In spurts, it actually is kind of healthy for you. It's like going for a run. Yeah. It's the problem is when your blood pressure is also high.
Oh yeah. That's what my doctor told me too. Said no poutine. Don't do it.
Quack.
Well.
True.
That sounds like a disgusting sandwich, though.
Well, it sounds like you're a fake Jew.
I'll eat a Reuben. I'll eat a pastrami sandwich. Listen, I'm a fake Jew. I live in Los Angeles.
Do you know where Reubens were invented?
Reubenville.
Where?
Do you know where Reubens were invented?
Oh yeah, I do.
Miami.
It was invented in my hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. Yeah.
Nebraska.
That's right. There was a hotel that they had there, right? That came up with it.
Why are you Googling and pretending like you knew that?
No, I was remembering.
You know, I know it because I just Googled the same thing.
I know you did. That's why I Googled it, you fuck. Trying to act all hot shit.
Well, but I knew that it was from Omaha. I didn't just randomly Google where is the Reuben from to see on chance if it was from a city that I knew about. Obviously, I knew that, but I see you Google the hotel.
It's like your pride that you have there. You're like, yeah, Omaha, corn and Reubens. Yeah, we do it. We do things big
kind of
here.
Romantic to watch you guys do this.
Shut up.
Well, yeah, bitch. I said it.
Malcolm X is also from my city too, so yeah, we got some big things going on over there. What?
Nothing. I don't know. It's very random.
It's not random at all.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Well, now you know. Bit. Go. Yeah, it was at some hotel, Dan. Go Google about it.
What is up with the streamer purple lighting? Like, is that what?
Yeah, sure. You guys are all copying my shit. I'm not comfortable with it. Hold on.
Yeah, this is bisexual propaganda.
No, it's literally called bisexual lighting.
It's the color that shows up best on webcam. All right, it's not my fault.
I got a big an octopusy behind
Yeah,
me.
you do?
Yeah, you see it? Or a squid, I guess, depending on how
Are you
you're
gonna put
feeling
it on
about
a Patreon?
I don't know. I don't think I'd have that many buyers. I could do like a,
You'd be surprised.
I could do like a weekly call, I'd like the idea of that. We'll see. We got some irons in the fire, as they say in the business,
Irons in the fire?
Yeah.
I think that's what they say in the business.
Who says that exactly, Dan?
Yeah, who says that?
Like, people that used to iron clothing back in the 1900s. They would do it because that's how they would iron clothing back then. They would put the iron inside of a fire. I don't even think that's the
iron that they're talking about. I think they're talking about like an iron poker.
Well, see, that's originally what people thought, but it's actually a myth. It was actually a small subset of
Destiny, can you check Wikipedia real quick?
What?
Nah, there actually isn't an entry on this, and if it is, it's very niche. You would have to go to the books in a library to see this. Yeah. Oh, Stardust.
What?
Call her out, Dan. Call her out.
Please. You know what I'm thinking, Stardust. Just defend yourself. Just defend yourself. Don't make me say it. Just go ahead. We'll hear your defense first, and then the offense second.
I thought the place where I put it would be a good enough hiding space.
You're trying to make humor out of a serious situation right now, and it's not okay.
Uh-oh.
Not okay.
Where'd you put it, Stardust?
Actually, Mindwaves, what happened with you and Pixie? I was trying to remember the debate.
Lore?
What happened? Because I know, the general consensus was you got blown the fuck out. But what happened back in that very faithful day? Can you take me through it?
On the Pixie debate? Wait, which one?
The Pixie debate.
The moral realism one, or
so what? I don't know. God, what a cringe time in DGG universe.
There was too many, dude.
Rem and Marty fucked up everything there. Everyone's like talking about philosophy and shit. It's so cringe. Anyways, the last one. You know the one I'm talking about. The real one.
I actually don't think that was the last one.
That was the big one. You know what I mean?
The big one. That was the big one. I think the last one was the one that we had when actually the conversation that you just tried to bring up, the soda one. Or no, the organ harvesting app. I think that was the last conversation I ever had with Pixie.
Yeah. So what have you been doing, Mindwaves? How have you been staying busy?
I've been bartending, dude. I've been bartending and skating and touching grass. It's amazing.
So, bartending. What drinks? What are you typically making out there? Down here, bartenders, they're just basically glorified mojito makers. But what are you doing up there? And
mojitos are such a shit drink. First of all, second of all,
well, maybe where you are, we make them authentic down here.
Oh, so. Sure. For me, my favorite drink to make is probably like a old fashioned.
That's a good drink to drink. I was just thinking about making one of those. That's very simple. How do you make it? I'm going to tell you how I make it first, and then you can tell me.
Okay.
All right. So you start with 2 sugar cubes. Boom. You put them into a glass. Then you have a few dashes of Angostura bitters that go into that. Smash a little bit. Smash. A little bit of water. Barely any water. Smash. Then bourbon. That's right. I said it. Some bourbon. Now, personally, there's a lot of options that you can go with, but I go with Buffalo Trace. That's what I do. I like Buffalo Trace. Put it all together. 2 nice cherries inside of it. Boom. There you go. What do you think? Thoughts?
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I think 2 sugar cubes is a lot for me personally.
Really?
I don't like my old fashions very sweet.
It's not that sweet. It's a little bit because we're talking about brown sugar. You know what I mean?
That's even worse. Brown sugar is disgusting.
Oh my god! What type of fake ass bullshit is this?
You just use 1 sugar cube. Okay, you go ahead and you I put half an orange slice and muddle that in with the sugar.
What do you think muddle means? What does muddle mean to you?
To get to grind it at the bottom of the, like, what do you mean? To muddle something, yeah.
Yeah, what is muddling? How do you muddle? Go ahead.
Yeah, when
I feel like you
came
don't
in
know
here
that
trying
word.
to break the Mr. Girl fucking stun lock, I didn't know we were going to be talking about fucking muddling and shit. Like, come on,
Well,
man.
he doesn't know. He's using the word and he doesn't know what it means. What does it mean? Muddle.
Oh,
Go.
muddle. He's Googling.
Check out the Wikipedia.
Muddling
Yeah.
just means to like add something sweet to a liquor or
I don't
something
think
like
that is what it means.
like a cocktail.
Wait back a second.
Yeah, it is. Like, okay,
Okay.
so like if you're putting in like, okay, so I start off with first of all, I don't like Angostura but bitters, and if you do use that, I feel like you have to balance it out with some orange bitters as well. So I try to, because Angostura is a little bit too bitter. You need something to smooth it out a little bit, right? Usually people compensate with more sugar. I don't like to do that. So yeah, sugar. Then you put the orange in there, muddle it together, and then I go ahead and put the bitters in. Well, bitters first, then muddle, and then I pour bourbon, whatever bourbon of their choice it is. I try to, I don't know, at least something like Maker's Mark, nothing less, nothing shittier than that, you know?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
so
what's the point?
All right. So tell me about your life. You've been MIA for how many years now?
At least 2, I think. Over 2 now.
2 years. Tell me about your life in the last 2 years. What have you been doing?
What have I been doing?
A lot of dudes. What else?
I've been thanks. I've been, what have I done? I'd moved towns. First of all, I moved to a bigger city. It's still a shithole in Texas, but there's that.
Yeah.
Took a couple college courses. Dropped that to work more. But let's see. Yeah, I've been skating. I've been playing D&D on my off time. That's great. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
So let me ask the question that I think actually most people in the space would be curious about, which is, do you have any plans to return to like streaming or hosting or panels or whatever? Because the truth is, as much people were talking shit, you had some fucking classic banger panels. So
yeah. I thank you. I appreciate that. I want to. That's kind of why I don't know. I like to hang out in this community still, is because like I like having the option to come back. Right now, I'm actually trying to save up and plan to move back to Arizona, and then after that, I'm looking to come back. So in the meantime, I'm trying to just poke my head in and say hi and what's up, you know.
So no more cringe names. Not gonna be the Big Brain podcast. I hope, right? Something more.
I don't know, Dan. Maybe let's do that collab and we'll come up with a new brilliant name. All right.
I was actually going to say it was a little sad for me coming up in the the Prime Kai space and the hippy dippy and all that kind of stuff, and then I was like, oh man, I see this panel, that the N-word saga, and I see like all these classic Destiny memes. I hope I can get onto the Mindwaves panel, and then like I fucking like Google it, and it's like it's been offline for like 3 months. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, dude, you just missed me, dude. Yeah. I do, honestly, if I think about it, I do kind of regret taking a step back, because I kind of allowed Dylan to take over. And there was about a year ago or so, I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll come back, bring the podcast back again. But honestly, I'll give a lot of credit to Dylan. He does it better than anybody else. And I don't think
but now he stepped out.
Yeah, he stepped out.
So, true.
So now the space
he's
is
above
kind of
it.
Wanting.
He's above that shallow.
I'm also very wary. I'm very, very wary of trying to get back on that meta, because I think that meta is dying. So I don't want to hop back on a dying ship, you know?
It's all about the guests that you can get. You know what I mean? If you can land some whales, then you're good to go, right?
Yeah. I also, I don't know if I like my brand being what my brand used to be. That's never good. So I don't know.
True.
Well, okay. So I guess the question would be, what would be the new thing? Because what I was hoping to hear is like, oh yeah, we're 6 months. I'm probably going to try to get the panel scene revived, because right now, like you said, it's kind of dying, dead, whatever. It's not as vibrant as it used to be. Although I think the reason why you see 6 people, 8 people on Destiny stream on a Friday or Saturday night is because people miss that chaotic vibe. So
So the thing I'm thinking is, if I am going to do something like that, it's going to be a little bit different. And the sort of audience that I'm going for would be different. I'm not going to target the politics sphere. I'm not going to target politics streamers. I would probably go for something bigger. I mean, there's still a hole left from the Raj Royale and shit like that. Trainwreck isn't even doing his podcast still, right? So like, I think
he just started it back up. But
yeah. So do you mean bigger, like a bigger audience? Do you mean bigger ideas? Because the thing about it is, for me, it seems like drama outperforms politics and commentary outperforms politics.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it
would
be
drama.
More yes.
Okay. I mean, fuck it. It's at least fun.
Not necessarily drama, but like obviously you can use drama to create interesting and fun conversations, right? Just having some sort of interesting topic to dive into that's probably relevant to some drama in the sphere, right? That's what the Raj Royale was. He would specifically pick people that were in drama that you can make a show out of. And yeah, there might be like a topic like in there that's interesting to talk about. And sometimes it would be interesting, but you know, it was mostly just a shit show.
Okay, fair. Well,
it's kind of what I'm I'm doing the next iteration of like the whole Chaos Cast thing. So I'm going to try and get as many people on for November 11th, I think, and turn that into a kind of like a chaotic thing. But it's my stuff has never been like super politics focused. It's been more like social stuff focused, I think. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go get dinner. You kids have fun, and try not to get in trouble. All right.
See you, Dan.
See you, Dan. Have a good dinner.
Bye, Dan, you little slippery Joe.
Wait, Dan, what are you eating?
Something Jewish for sure.
Sushi.
Like
Will
what?
you tell us all about it when you get back?
Gefilte fish.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, gefilte
Have fun, Dan.
Yes.
Handfuls of gefilte fish.
All right, bye.
See ya.
I hope
All
he tweets out his menu in detail.
So
have any of you guys had gefilte fish before? It's abhorrent.
No, it
I have
sounds
no idea
horrible.
what you're talking. That sounds like a made up word, Lav. I'm not gonna
Yeah, I was about to say
Oh,
gefilte fish
wow.
sounds like something that
Hebrews
non-Jews made up in order to make fun of Jews for eating. Like that's what it sounds
No.
like.
No, people actually eat it. It's like how people actually eat sardines. It's like that population that really likes sardines and Spam.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
there's a
gross.
niche. It's a niche. It's
so
disgusting.
poor Jews who had to survive in tough times, and then they ate like shitty pickled fish. Got it. Well,
yeah, and then and now they're rich, and now they're rich.
Now they have an
taking
acquired
over the
taste.
world.
Yeah, so I didn't want to play this card because I didn't know if like Dan was actually like actively talking shit to me or if he just didn't know. And either way, I wanted to stay in the background. My first name is Connor. So he was like, Connor, what a piece of shit name. Fucking idiot. Dating an Irish person. I was like, I'm not going to fall for the fucking bait. Like, he's either baiting me or he's talking shit without knowing. And either way, I'm going to hang out in the back.
Are you Irish?
Yeah, like I did a 23andMe and it's like 98% Northern European. I don't have any Mongolian. I don't have any Jewish. I don't have anything weird mix. I don't have any Native American. I don't have any of that shit. I'm just
That's gross. You're
Northern
like just
European.
super white.
Yep, straight up white, and I won't apologize for it. White as fuck.
Wow. That's you won't apologize for it?
No.
I fucking hate when white people get the 23andMe results and then they start listing off a million different flavors of white and they're like, look at how cultured I am. It's like, no, dude, you're just white. Like, let's be real. You just said white in like 50 different ways. Yeah.
No, yeah, but you gotta understand, like, I mean, there is this like impulse in the creative space or whatever to always claim something that can, get away from your whiteness. So, if you're gay or bisexual or Jewish or you have a fucking great uncle who's Native American and you're
I think we've actually
Native American.
I think it's actually not race anymore. It's just gender now. Like, I think if you're like a normal person, you're like, I'm non-binary now. Like, I think that's what that is.
I think that's the card, especially for like middle schoolers and younger people, where they're like, "Oh, I'm white and I can't get away from being white, so I'll just be non-binary and I'll just have a separate ring and I'll cut my hair short."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I love that.
I do know somebody. It's kind of scary watching kids go through school because like people will do anything for attention when you're in school, in high school especially, right? And my girlfriend's sister thought she was like transgender or whatever, or had like this phase, and we were trying to help her because her mom does not understand any of that, right? So we were like, hey, like if you're really feeling this way, like that's like all right, we accept you, like we'll help you if you want to get a binder or something like that, makes you feel more comfortable so you could try it out, blah blah blah, we'll be there. And she starts high school and she's in band. She makes like a few friends in band or whatever eventually after she gets out of her shell. And then all of a sudden when she has friends, she's like, oh, I'm not transgender anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, dude.
When you start touching grass.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's increasingly harder for younger people to touch grass, and so as a result, you have all these correlative things. Back in 2006, 2007, when I was in high school, every girl who was even slightly hot was like bisexual for like 2 weeks, and they had like a girlfriend,
yeah.
and they held hands, and they like made out a little bit for attention, and they got drunk at parties, and then they made out, and it was like, ooh, you know, we're so crazy, we're so edgy, and then of course, like, you know, a month later, a dude that they were kind of fiending after asked them out, and then they just go back to being fucking straight. So for me, that's kind of like the for me that's kind of like the non-binary panic is just a similar
Bisexual panic.
Yeah, it'll be the same thing. Like it'll spike. You know, the people who are actually bisexual or gay or whatever, they'll figure themselves out, and then it'll kind of settle where it's like it's not as big of a deal anymore.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think
I hope the trends don't continue where everybody's transgender by the end of the century.
I actually think that people are really, I don't know if you saw it, this is like, you're a boomer, obviously, so maybe not, but there's like this big discourse with like Dylan Mulvaney. I don't know if you know who Dylan Mulvaney is, but Dylan
Mulvaney,
I
feel like Googling
Bits and pieces.
So Dylan Mulvaney is a trans woman who just spoke to Joe Biden.
Oh no, I'm a girl. I'm a teensy weensy girl.
I don't understand why anybody has a problem with that person.
Okay, I'll tell you why, because it's a super hyper exaggerated fluffy personality that I find off-putting regardless of gender.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, well that has a little bit of underpinnings of
homophobia and misogyny. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yes.
a little. I think that a lot of people are using this as an excuse to be like transphobic for sure, like definitely. But I think that there's really apt criticism in that, like, saying that like I mean, really, ultimately, what Dylan is doing is like it's like gender blackface. And
what? Wait, so that implies
that
that they're not actually a woman, right?
Well, I don't think that you are a woman until you are socially integrated as a woman. So, like, if you're someone with like a beard,
by what standard? Yours?
Yeah, external or internal?
No, so gender is based off of sex, and we immediately sex people. So you can see that someone has secondary. You can see that someone's wearing a dress, someone has long hair, and you're like, okay, they're trying to be a woman. I'm going to be respectful of their pronouns. But you're placating them. Inside your head, you're going to still sex them as male.
No, I don't think that that's necessarily true. You're going by this logic that you can always clock somebody, which I don't trust.
No, I don't. That's not my logic. I think that that's what I'm saying is that's when you are arguably a woman, is when you exist in the world as a woman, regardless of whether or not you are male or female. It's if you pass.
Sure, but what I assume you're gonna say is that like the problem you have with her is that she's putting on this sort of hyper exaggerated sort of like caricature of what a woman is, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you feel that way?
Because her days of girlhood is like, these are what shoes I'm wearing, these are what dresses I'm wearing, and it's in this like hyper femme, hyper and I think that I don't think that at least not most trans women I've spoken to in general, but a lot of popular trans women online, like Nikita Dragon, Gigi Gorgeous, and now Dylan to some extent, are all pushing this like this ideal of like insane hyper femininity, and it ends up hurting.
But would you care if a cis female was doing the same shit?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, I think there's an issue here, though. Like, we've seen historically in media how hyper feminine women are have been kind of like made fun of in media and kind of a little bit demonized in media, right? So I actually don't have a problem with hyper feminine trans women. I think that if anything, they're at least like kind of going against that, right? Because we had things like that would just make fun of it, right? Like Legally Blonde, I think, is a good example of like a movie that would make fun of hyper femininity. It was a good movie, but it still made fun of it like heavily, right?
Well, in Lav, can I want to ask you a question too, because this is actually pertains to the conversation we had last night. So last night we were talking about like the debate space, and I think this was within the context of like Destiny wants to integrate more women into the debate space by making it more hospitable and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that you pointed out was that Erudite is stereotypically feminine in a lot of ways, but also has like what I would call traditionally masculine attributes. Like she can be abrasive and assertive and like a little bit of an ass and like all that kind of stuff. So those are non-gendered things. And one of the things that you said is that women shouldn't have to change who they are in order to participate in the space. So I guess my question is, are you not also throwing like a box on like what you think womanhood is, and then saying if you're outside of that box, you're not a part of it? And by the way, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's obviously like butch lesbians who are still women.
Yes, of course. So this is what I'm trying to say. I think it's harder to say what a woman is, but it's easy to say what a woman isn't, right? We know that a woman isn't just the way she dresses. We know that a woman isn't just hyperfemininity. And so when you reduce it to something like that, especially a lot of trans influencers who, make it that, I mean, literally, you see Caitlyn Jenner. She's like, the hardest part about being a woman is picking out what shoes I'm gonna wear. That's not what being a fucking woman is. Like, that's the criticism I have. It's not that Dylan is hyperfem and a bunch of things. It's that she's exhibiting this like hyper feminized, like simple caricature of a woman. The way that like her voice is high, and she always talks about clothes, and she doesn't talk about like, it just feels very shallow, and it feels it feels like a caricature of a woman. And now she is, it's like I think it's crazy also that this person is also talking to like Joe Biden, right? That we've like made this trans woman so famous that she's talking to Joe Biden and like getting him on air to talk about how it's okay to give like all trans children hormones.
Listen, like, if your point is this person is getting too much attention for considering who they are as a person, I could agree with you there. But then the question kind of becomes like, what level of performance is authentic to you? So for instance, like if there was like a masculine, let's say a trans man, right? And by the way, like the reason why nobody talks about trans men is because the second you start taking testosterone, you look like a fucking dude, right? You get a beard, you get fucking muscles, you fucking start, you start looking swollen shit. So the point being that like the reason why nobody talks about that shit, and nobody would talk about a trans man being stereotypically masculine, is because we would probably accept it if somebody was like slamming beers and eating hot wings and fucking driving a lifted truck and all that kind of shit. We would just be like, yeah, whatever. So I guess I'm asking, if you were going to accept a obnoxious trans man because they're being performative about masculinity, what is it about femininity that's different? Like I'm looking for the variable that in your head you're like, this doesn't mesh, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah, so it's a couple layers of things. I think that I'm very critical of like bimboism with like cis women, right? This like new brand of feminism that's like just like bimbo, like know nothing, look hot, sexualize yourself completely. And I find it like an even worse offense. And maybe this is my own internalized transphobia. It seems to be an even worse offense when you're like an outsider joining the community, like joining the female community as what you're hoping to be accepted as a woman. And then you're like keeping these things in place that like basically like oppress us and like over sexualize women. And you're like, I mean, there's this like meme that like, obviously women are fighting against misogyny, especially in like gamer spaces, like online, but trans women like misogyny because it affirms them. Like this is something that, like,
I think that's probably largely a joke. I think it's
no.
Well, I mean, I do in Lav's defense. I feel like most of the some of the worst misogyny I feel like I've received in the debate in the Twitch poll space has been from trans women. But I don't know if that's I don't know if that's has to do with them thinking. I think I've just experienced. I just think that the most egregious forms of misogyny I've experienced have been like from trans women in this space, but I don't know if that's also like just also an internalized hate thing with them as well. So
well, I think it's also important to recognize that when you say that you have this like vile reaction to bimboism, that's also potentially
kind of misogynistic
misogynistic as well, because you are saying that this certain set of behaviors by women is not acceptable because it makes you look bad.
No, it's not that it makes me look bad. It's that it's reductive. It dehumanizes us. I think that there's a certain level of personal
I think you're doing the reduction though. You're looking at that behavior and saying that is what defines this person. They have a lot more like personality than just that, right?
And isn't there a spectrum?
I know that, but that's not how societally. That's not how things work. Like especially if that's the representative of our community, there has to be some aspect of personal responsibility. We see that with like how we put I don't understand the kid gloves thing in general. I think that we also do the same thing with like the Black community. We're like, oh, they can't help it. Like they can't help it. They're like, they're not
We're going all
responsible for
out.
their behavior because of poverty. Like there, to some degree, there has to be like, okay, break the cycle. Like, why are we letting men?
Well, what you're telling what you're telling women right now, and trans women specifically, is that you actually don't get to act traditionally feminine because we're trying to actively break those stereotypes.
Femininity is not wearing a fucking dress. That is not what femininity
is. It is part of femininity. Yes.
That's kind of what we understand femininity as.
I think that that's a ridiculous, shallow understanding of femininity.
Well, then what is it, Love? You can't keep saying that all these things that women engage in, that is a gendered norm for women, is not what being a woman is. And then
I think that gendering clothing is fucking ridiculous. I think that being ditzy, the ditzy character, the overexcited character, the dumb character, like all of that is ridiculous. What do you mean? The hardest thing I do as a woman is pick out my clothes. That's fucking ridiculous.
But Lav, this is...
Okay, I can agree with you.
God damn it! Come on, let the white guy speak. Jesus Christ.
Wait, what? Okay, I don't speak that often. Okay,
True.
Okay, so I can definitely agree with Lav that the idea that the hardest part about being a woman is choosing what to wear. I think that's like ridiculous, right? Being a woman is a large part of being a woman is how the world kind of treats you, whether you choose that or not. Most of the time, you don't choose it, right? Majority of the time, you don't choose how the world treats you.
Yeah. So can't you?
But I still don't. Well, I still don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with this performance of hyper femininity. I kind of appreciate it actually, but I can see where comments like that maybe would set you off. I just don't see any problem with hyper femininity.
Yeah, and if I can back this up before you respond real quick, because I would like to talk as well. I would like to talk as well. Thank you, Jewish American princess. So one of the things that my chat brought up is like, I think it's the idea of the stolen valor type of thing where women have been fucked over by these stereotypes for so long, and now this person gets support for embodying it. But my counterpoint to this is that there's a spectrum of what would be feminine. Like, so for instance, if there's a masculine butch lesbian who like acts out masculine roles, we would still consider them a woman. And if there was a bakes cookies dress wearing Stepford wife who wanted to stay home, give blowjobs, and make bakery goods, that's also, within the category of woman. So to say, like, once you hit a certain extreme of this stereotype, you are no longer in this category feels a little bit weird, especially when like what you're really fighting for, I think Stardust just said, is the ability to choose how you're going to represent this category.
I think also I think I'm coming from a different I'm a gender like abolitionist. I'm like a sex essentialist. So I think that I'm coming from like that position where I'm like, if you're a woman because you look exactly like a woman. I don't think that someone who doesn't pass is a woman, unfortunately.
There's a shit. I could drive to Walmart right now and find somebody who barely looks human, and they would still be a fucking woman or a man.
But Lav, by that standard, then like there's a lot of women that seem to not even pass for women, right? And like, at what point, what do you do with those? Do you not consider them women? Are they not living the women?
That's something I like to bring up too. There's a lot of trans women, as soon as they start passing, they pass much better than a lot of cis women that I've seen. So that's like a very interesting phenomena to think about.
Yeah, I think if you effectively live as a man, even if you identify as a woman, your society sees you as a man.
But what if,
you can still be a female. This is where the essentialism comes in. If you're still a female, you're still a female. This is why I think that gender ideology is fucking useless.
I think okay, hold on. Let's wade through this for a second, okay? I don't think that things are useless. I think the problem is what we're running into are limitations of language. So Lav's definition of woman, or a lot of what Lavs considers to be a woman, is defined by the way that society perceives and treats you. So if you have somebody that goes through life with the appearance of a man and is allowed to present as a man, and then is allowed to take part in all of the cultural performances, rituals, and customs that are usually preserved for men or reserved for men, then one day says, I'm a woman. If Lav is viewing her womanness through the lens of this is what I look like and this is how society treats me, then that person is essentially an imposter. But I think that the issue is that being a woman or looking like a woman or whatever, there's like, when we say being a woman, we're really talking about like 10 different things there. And I think it's important that we start to kind of spread those out instead of all trying to like ramrod what it means to be a woman. Because Lab's got this social kind of almost constructionist viewpoint of it. Other people are taking this kind of like biological brain view of it. Other people are taking like an inner feeling and expression of it. And I think all of these things are valid. I think we all agree with that. Or maybe Lab doesn't agree with the brain thing. But I think most of us agree there are different things of like being a woman. But trying to ramrod everything into one definition is not going to work. A really good parallel to this is, what does it mean to be black? Like in the United States, African-American descendants of slaves have a very different experience than people that immigrate to the United States. Or being black in America as a mixed race person, you know, you always look black, but you take Obama and you stick him. I've seen pictures of him in, I want to say it was Kenya, and he almost looks white. He's so out of place compared to every other person there, but he's still black. There's like, so yeah, like I think being black is a complicated thing too. Like being a woman is a complicated thing. I think if all of you are trying to fight to ramrod your one definition or all of your definitions into one word, you're never going to agree on things. But not because you're actually disagreeing on concepts, just because you're all trying to use like the same words to describe different things.
So I want to explain my concept then. So I always view like gender as sprouting from sex, but like correlative, not causative. So for instance, like if somebody is the female sex, there's going to be like a correlative amount of behaviors that we're going to expect out of them. Some of them are like have absolutely nothing to do with like biology, and they're just things like traditions that we have throwbacks from. But then there's also like we were kind of talking about like frilly dresses and shit. Maybe deep down, there's like a certain suggestibility of having like a poofy fucking dress that is like, you know, feminizing, where what they're saying is, you want to get under my dress, I'm going to give you the allure of this fucking thing, et cetera, et cetera. And it could be so deeply rooted subconsciously that it is feminine, even though we can't say like hardcore, like this is just a woman thing. And so that's where for me, biology and gender are correlative but not causative, and then there's these spectral like categories that people can exist within. And by the way, one more point before I shut up is the fact that you said if somebody isn't treated within that category or by society, then they don't technically fit the category. For me, for femme men, this sucks. Because if you're like a femme dude who presents femme, who dresses different, who is kind of deferential, who all that kind of shit, you are thrown out of the man category so fucking hard and so fucking fast. You're basically persona non grata.
Yeah, I think that's a patriarchy issue. I obviously am a feminist, so I have a problem with misogyny. I think that there's a war against femininity in general, in men, in women, in everyone. But yeah, I think people bring up the whole like brain thing, like how like biologically we're like conditioned different. Like the male and female brain are so much more alike than they are different. There's no blue and pink brains. I resent this idea that like a woman is like so many things like different than a man. I don't
a real quick thing. I understand what you're trying to say there, but that just real quick, that argument is a non sequitur, right? There's more similarities between like a human and a banana than like a human and a molecule of oxygen. That doesn't mean that like they're the same. Like there's things to be very different, even though really.
And I want to ask about endocrinology, because for instance, like you could say, let's say that we started out with like a blank slate human brain and they were identical in each way. For me, like endocrinology would absolutely affect the way that the brain is going to interact with the world. So whether or not you're exposed to estrogen or whether or not you're exposed to testosterone, and this is all like backed up by studies where basically like, you know, I'm pretty sure like something like 95% of like the male population in jail or some shit like that has above average testosterone levels.
Yes,
like
so
it's fucking insane.
Testosterone is one of the biggest differences in between the sexes is aggression levels. Like that's what we see. That is across the board, like the most. And I say this all the time. The only difference between the sexes, the only real difference, is the ability to kill the other with their bare hands. And that is like, but that when you think about it, we're not primitive creatures anymore. None of this fucking matters, right? Like we're not fighting for food. We're not killing each other for mates. I mean, some of us are. But it's like to get caught up in like gender roles when they're so arbitrary and stupid, especially in the technological age where we are like actively the most similar we've ever fucking been, is so stupid. It is so like to obsess over something like sex or gender. Do what you want. Wear what you fucking want.
It seems contradictory. It seems.
It just doesn't seem.
Isn't this kind of
narcissistic in nature to obsess over something like this?
Okay, so here's the issue. The problem is it's not about the fact that it's narcissistic. It's about the fact that a lot of people draw meaning from it. Right? That's the issue. There's a lot of people that see themselves through the lens
has become
of like being a man or being a woman, and these are things that are very meaningful to a lot of people in their lives. So it's hard to say like, oh, that's dumb, stop obsessing over. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna have to give them something different then, because there's an important lens through which people view themselves as. I think that in some ways, what you're speaking about is like the hyper end of like the hyper liberal project, where no person belongs to any tribes and everybody is the ultimate individual that doesn't identify with any groups. And it's like, no, I think people probably need to, even though I identify that way, because fuck all that shit. But for a lot of people, for most people, 99% of humans, I think they need to identify with certain tribes or groups. And I think that gender is a big way that they do that. I think that, and that's been like
right.
I think
and you were just being kind of critical of hyper. Weren't you just being critical of hyper femininity whilst you're also
that's not
saying
hyper femininity. It's not I like this dress, I love to shop. That is fucking retardation. That is not femininity. That's being retarded.
Why not? Hold on. Why?
But you're
why
just
not?
deciding to. Well, the thing is that a lot of people do define femininity by those things, right? Those things combined with a bunch of other things. You're basically saying that that is a non-factor in femininity, and I don't think that that's true.
Okay, so do you think that masculinity is like I love to shoot guns, drink beer?
Yes,
part of it. Yes.
No, that's fucking. That's retarded. That's retarded.
No,
that's
it's not.
Well, then
It's
you're the one
I think
defining gender roles.
I think the issue is that like you're looking at biology and then you're looking at behaviors, and you're saying that like since these behaviors aren't 100% restricted by these biological categories, they're dumb. But I think you can look at biology the way you would look at different programming languages are good for different things, right? Like, I think theoretically, you might be able to do like database management with like PHP, but I don't think people would tell you to do that. I think they'd say like use Python, right? But if you want to build websites, you can use PHP. Coding languages are really flexible, but they're better at some things than they are at other things. And I think that when it comes to male biology and female biology, there are just things that men tend to be better at, and women tend to be better at. So if men tend to be better at things that involve like, let me finish. If men tend to be better at things that like involve like aggression or physical prowess or whatever, then it makes sense that in a society you'd expect to see men tend towards things like shooting guns or like hunting animals or whatever.
Okay.
And also, isn't there the example that in societies with more gender equality, you see actually an even more divergence when it comes to the careers that men and women choose? I believe that that's true. You'll see like a pretty big divergence.
Hey, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have to go real quick. I love y'all. I was trying to break the Mr. Girl stun lock. I'm happy that we were able to get there. Have fun ripping each other to shreds. Y'all have a beautiful night.
Goodbye, Connor.
See ya.
Hey, I'm sorry, y'all. Let me go full screen for a second. Full cam. Hey, jump over to Destiny's stream. I have to go pick up my son. I know that we started getting into something interesting there. I promise we'll try to do more collabs with Destiny, particularly if he's hosting the Orbiters more often. And then also I'm doing better. I'm doing better physically. So we probably will start up the panel scene again soon. So we'll probably have more of this content going forward. Don't worry. I know that we've been on the 1v1 chill conversation thing. But realistically, the reason why we were doing that is because I needed to physically recover from working, doing a part-time job, having a family, taking care of my kids, all that kind of shit. So jump over to Destiny. Have some fun. Appreciate y'all.